Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, and welcome to round 3 of the 2026 TCUK Championship here at Virtual Motorsport Online. Tonight we arrive at Snetterton, one of the longest, most varied and modern layouts throughout British motorsport. Originally an RAF airfield, it's become a racing venue in the 1950s, and ever since it's slowly evolved into a true driver's circuit. Today's 300 layout has long straights, which rewards power and boost management, a technical infield which demands precision, and flowing sections where rhythm is truly everything. 9 races in, the composition of our championship protagonists for this year are starting to take shape as well. Daniel Hurlock's incredible consistency so far nets him a 102-point lead in the Drivers' Championship, while King's Racing continues to be the benchmark in the teams. But with another 3 races this evening, we'll have to see if they can continue their good form. We have 3 more races for you tonight. Tyre strategy, boost deployment, and a reverse grid draw once again will shape the evening. So, under the shadow of the former scary tree, let's see how our drivers take to Snetterton's unique mix of speed and technicality. My name is Matthew Churgwin, and joining me in the booth this evening is Mr. Philip Morby. Say hello, sir.
Hello, sir. Yeah, back for another evening of entertainment. Looking forward to this one. I've mixed emotions when it comes to Snetterton. I have very good memories of racing it in the virtual world, and I remember getting soaked here for the 60th anniversary British touring car race many moons ago now, and getting very soggy and wet. But, well, maybe we'll tell this story a bit later. It wasn't a completely bad day, was it? There was some brilliant cake at the end of it. But anyway, stories to be shared a bit later. But yes, 3 more races tonight, Phil. Snetterton, it's not my favourite circuit, but it's definitely up there. A real mix of corners for our drivers to deal with this evening. It is, it really is. It's a bit of everything going on, and obviously, luckily for the guys tonight, unlike last week's heat wave, it's not as hot. As we can see there, air temp 21 degrees, track temp 15. No rain to worry about as well, compared to our last time out with a bit of chaos. I'd be very surprised if we see any rain.
Exactly. An inspired bit of arrangement and organisation from the VMO organisers to dodge the first summer or second summer heat wave that we've had in the UK so far this year. Yes, very glad that we're not dealing with 30 degrees plus for our drivers. It gets warm in the sim rigs, so yes, a bit easier to manage both in the real and virtual worlds. Of course, we're on round 3. I've mentioned that already. We've got 7 more rounds, obviously, to follow. A few weeks' time, 2 weeks, we'll be at Alton Park and the Island Circuit, and we will round out our first half of the season at Thruxton on the 29th of July before our summer break. After the summer break, we return to the fantastic Knott Hill Circuit, and we then return to our starting place for this year, Donington Park, this time taking on the GP circuit in early September. We then finish out the final few rounds of the championship strong with our visit to Croft, Silverstone, the birthplace of British motorsport, and of course the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit for the grand finale all the way in October. And I was thinking to myself, Phil, in the build up to this, we're already 9 races in, nearly a third of the way done already. Where has that time gone?
Where has that time gone indeed? And I mean, it's important, we've kind of got what we thought was going to be a 2-horse race. It's just about holding on to be a 3-horse race with Dan Hurlock with a 10-point driver's lead over Tom Stevens. But the King's Racing of Scott is only 7 further back on 85, and then it kind of stretches back to 72 to Cedo for Brabham in 4th. And as for the team side, that is a bit easier to follow with Kings at 187 and RSR quite a bit further back, 123. We've got some new faces and familiar faces returning as well, haven't we?
We do. So I think first to call out, I'll call it Return of the King, our 2022 champion, Matt Richards. He was retired. He's not anymore. He's going to be joining us as an independent in, I believe that's the Infinity there, the number 4 car. Also a huge welcome to Harley London. She's taking over the Calamity Motorsport Focus. Lovely to have you here, Harley. Hope you enjoy your time with us. And who else have we got coming in, Phil?
It's probably worth shouting that Carl Benton is now independent.
Yes, so Team 22.
The number 5 of T22. That's going to so confuse us during the night.
Say as someone who is partial for and whenever I race online, I tend to go for Type 34. I enjoy Team 22. I'm on board with the interesting but different name. But
numbers and names. That's something to talk about there during one of the warm ups, isn't it? Numbers and names.
I'm sure. I'm sure. But yes, as Phil alluded to, we can see those 3 bright yellow Honda Civics of the King's racing outfit. They have really stolen a march so far. A very comfortable 60 point so margin from RSR, but there's a long way to go still. Plenty of racing still to be had, so still plenty of time to catch up. And we haven't had. We've got our grid just coming up for the first race of the evening, and we'll take you through our starting order, as well as obviously those will be starting on the soft tyres. So Fraser Hart for Brabham will be starting on pole position, followed by Callum Wilson, current independent leader, in second. Daniel Kell and Ryan Elliott round out our second row. Jack Nichols for Kings and Cedo Wire for Brabham start 5th and 6th, with Emil Salberg and Tom Stevens rounding out our top 8. Row 9 will be Scott Mitchell-Marm for Kings Racing, with Daniel Hurlock starting in 10th. Harley London starting alongside Thomas Wack in P11 and 12. Jordan Richardson for PMR, powered by Richards & Co Racing, will be in 13th alongside Alan Smith, not in 16th today. Jordan Hyde and Ben Willis occupying the 15th and 16th positions. Dave Brewster for Inspire will be starting 17th alongside Matthew Williams in his Craven Racing Hyundai. Robert Moling and Carl Benton round out the top 20. Mitch Marie, Daniel Scott will be starting P21 and P22, with Martha Allington bringing up the rear of the field tonight. 23 runners and riders taking the grid for the first race this evening.
Slight change to that, however, is that I think Jordan Richardson was there starting about 12th. They've been sent to the back of the grid for incorrect quali tyres. And while we're here, a few other parish notices. Matthew Williams and Emil Salberg are starting 5 places further back due to penalties from last time out. I think Jordan Richardson also had a 5-place penalty, but obviously they've been sent to the back of the grid anyway, which I'm not sure what that means for that penalty, because technically it's not been served. Anyway, that's something for the stewards to worry about in the future. So 23 runners and riders tonight. A decent-sized pack, obviously quite a long layout, so we won't have any shenanigans of lap cars or cars pitting for wet tyres, so should make it, famous last words, rather straightforward. And as we said, talking of straights, the amount of boost that drivers have, we saw that Herlock there was quite a bit further back, and same with got different people at the front, because that lack of boost early on really hurts you.
It does, and we've seen some of our protagonists struggle. I do keep an eye out, folks, for these 3 races. That hybrid boost management, that extra 65 or so brake horsepower that our drivers can engage. Of course, long straights, power dominated. If you don't have as much power available to you, you are going to struggle here. But I do find, though, that the infield, some wonderful corners named after some wonderful drivers. Plenty of opportunity to try and make up some of that loss. So it's a tricky circuit, this one. Great to learn a car, how to set it up, what works for it, what doesn't. We'll have to see how everyone deals with the fast and flowing nature across these 3 races.
Yes, it's very different that we've gone from Brands Hatch, where you basically really had one place to use your power out of the last corner down to turn 1. I suppose you could use a little bit down the hill, or a little bit after the hairpin, but you kind of really struggled to kind of use it anywhere bar the main straight. Whereas here, you've obviously got the centre straight, you've got after turn 1, you've got the run down to turn 2, you use a little bit in 3. Like, there's so many straights. I mean, the Bentley straight, the back straights, and it is long, if not longer than the main straight. There's so many opportunities to where you use your boost to attack and defend. Tactically, it's going to be very interesting to watch.
It will, and it's going to reward technique. A lot of corners which you have to be braking, turning, slowing down, balancing the car. Coram into Murray's right at the end of the lap. We've always seen some action there. Drivers throwing the car up the inside, trying to block pass. So lots to look forward to, lots to keep an eye out for. And while the weather may not be with us as it was at Brands Hatch, Snetterton never fails to disappoint and throw up a few surprises.
It doesn't. I'll be kind of seeing how Richardson can recover from the back of the grid. Martha. All these people that are kind of near the front of the grid with max boost. They're going to be fun to watch, and likewise seeing people at the top of the championship, how they make their way through that grid with a real lack of boost early on. But obviously they'll get it back for race 2 and 3 depending on where they finish.
They will. So One thing we should mention as well, just as we're waiting for drivers to kind of get into position and gridded, is our tyres. So, of course, a variety of tyres on offer, medium being the primary compound, the option tyre, which you need to opt into across the course of the championship, is a soft tyre here today. So in theory, a bit quicker, but may wear out, obviously a bit quicker as well. We've got quite a few drivers who have picked that tyre for the first race.
Yeah, so we've got Dan Kell, Mitch Murray, Carl Benson, Matt Richards, Fraser Hart, and then, that's actually everyone, because I think Callum Cripps and Bert Knops aren't actually racing. So 2, 4, 6 drivers. Nope, I can't count. 5 drivers for race 1. So 5 out of 23 using that soft tyre early. As we know, soft tyre, a bit more grip at the start, but it will fall off quicker at the end. And while 12 laps doesn't seem like lots, that's a very long 12 laps. And a few long corners as well to hold onto them.
Yes, it's all 45-kilometre at least distances across every single race that we do here as a part of TCUK. But some of these corners, particularly Coram, right at the end of the lap. I mean, certainly driving a rear-wheel drive car, I always feel for the tyres as they load and do not get a break. For those in the front-wheel drives with those soft tyres, particularly Fraser Hart, our pole position starter, has the soft tyre, so that's a pretty handy advantage to have for the first race coming in, but plenty to manage over this 45-kilometre distance.
I used to hate it. I still say it. Again, just managing those soft tyres over a race stint, because you've got obviously the long, fast riches of turn 1, and you've still even Palmer in turn 3, Hamilton turn 5, Williams. The tyres, even though we've got these long straights, the tyres don't really get much of a break. And especially, like I said, that last sector of Brundle, Nelson, Bomhole, Coram, Murray's. It's just, they get a bit of a break on those main straights, but otherwise it's just one after another. And both sides as well. While this is a clockwise circuit, obviously we go into the infield quite a lot, so there's quite a few left-handers to contend with.
Yes, and important left-handers at that as well. So you have the likes of Agostini. You get that wrong, you're in trouble for Hamilton in the middle of the lap. And of course, you've got Brundle, corner following the Bentley straight. End of the second sector, start of the third, braking, turning, slowing right down for the Nelson right-hander, which has a huge sausage curb on the apex. So you really do need to spot that braking zone properly and get the car slowed and turned to get on the power nice and early to close out the lap. So lots for our drivers to manage, and I'm sure they're all going to put on a treat for us.
I'm sure they are. It's also worth pointing out, I've just noticed in the grid, which I'm sure we'll go through again in a minute, the Kings Racing are starting 5th, 6th and 7th. So that's going to be a fun one to watch as they kind of manage. Obviously, you've got the likes of, I've just lost their 2 names, Tom Stevens and Scott Mitchell, kind of fighting for the championship, starting 6th and 7th, and it's their teammate Jack Nicholls starting ahead of them in 5th. Wow. So I wonder how much tactics are going to be used there to kind of help them all move forward, while Tom and Scott even are still racing each other.
We will see. They've been very, very wise, I'd say. They've played the team game very well so far. I'd expect more of the same, of course. But unfortunately, there's another 20 or so cars who want to have a say about that. So we'll have to see how they deal with a lot of drivers wanting to make progress early on. And of course, they'll have a little bit less boost to work with. So they're definitely going to have to be on their toes tonight.
Yeah, as they've just started the formation lap here. So, it's going to be an entertaining one. And as they make their way, like I said, obviously you've got Dan Kell also in 3rd, starting on the softs before quite a big gap to the next soft tyre runner. We've got a few there in 20th and 21st, and Matt Richards in 16th. So, Dan Kell and Fraser Hart at the front on softs. Not a bad place to be as they make their formation lap.
Indeed. So we'll just quickly run through the starting order one more time for you. We have Fraser Hart starting in pole position, followed by Callum Wilson. Daniel Kell and Ryan Elliott complete our second row of the grid. Jack Nicholls and Tom Stevens will be starting P5 and P6, with Scott Mitchell-Marm and Cedar Wire starting P7 and P8. Rounding out our top 10, we have Dan Hurlock and Harley London.
And 11th place, it's Emil Salberg, and 12th place, Martha Allington for YTF Racing. Thomas Wack in 13th place with Jordan Richardson, and I'm going to say the line, PMR powered by Richards & Co Racing in 14th. Alan Smith is actually starting 15th, so only 1 place off the forever 16th, which is occupied by Matt Richards, home back in Aerostream Motorsport. 17th, it's Ben Willis for Control Esports by Drake Racing. Dave Brewster in 18th, and Robin Mooling 19th. Carl Benton, car number 5 for Team 22, starting 20th. Numbers. That's number one. Mitch Murray starting 21st, with Daniel Scott in 22nd, Matthew Williams in 23rd, and as mentioned earlier, Jordan Hyde is starting at back of the grid in 24th due to using the wrong tyres in quali.
Yes, or should it say everyone should qualify on the same compound of tyre? That's the medium tyre. Obviously caught out with the wrong tyres on the car for that, so back to the back of the grid for him. But he has plenty of time to try and atone for that. So as our leading duo make their way around Murray's for the final time here on the formation lap, we will just wait for the grid to take their grid positions.
Yep, so who's your money on them for this one? Obviously, you've got two guys starting near the front of the softs. You've obviously got a BMW starting on the mediums, but also on the front row, and the inside for turn 1, which would be interesting. Who's your money on?
I'm keeping an eye on Dan Kell. I would see what he can do from 3rd place. And speaking of which, thank you very much to cameraman extraordinaire Tom, who's with us as always. Picture in picture on board with Dan Kell. Telepathy, fantastic stuff. So as our drivers are taking their grid positions, looks like a few just slightly out of order in the back there. Looks like everyone is now in position. We wait for the lights. 3 lights and away we go for race 1 this evening. Fantastic start from Fraser Hart. Dan Kell immediately putting those soft tyres to good use and out drags Callum Wilson in towards the entry for turn 1. We've got some 2x2 action, a little bit of contact there I think between Stevens and Elliott that may have been, as the King's cars try and make way. Hard on the brakes now down into Montreal for the first time of asking.
Oh, we've got cargo very wide at the hairpin as Fraser and Dan Kell trying to kind of get ahead early while the Kings guys sort themselves out. Also worth noting that Fraser and Kell have a lot more boost than everyone behind them, so they will be putting that to good use later through the race, as Stevens and Mitchell have made a good start getting up to 3rd and 4th. Jack Nicholls sadly has gone kind of a bit backwards.
Yes, indeed. Keep an eye on that timing tower, ladies and gents, for who's using boost when. Oh, a car going straight off there. That was a left-hander. Going right is not going to be profitable for you. So a little bit of a moment there on the first lap as everyone makes their way through this technical infield section through the left-hander of Hamilton, hard on the brakes into Oggies. Get yourself positioned for the exit through Williams onto the Bentley straight. Looks like everyone just about making their way through here.
Yeah, and this is where obviously you can't use the boost on the first lap. There's going to be a lot of slipstreaming, I imagine, as they try and work out who's going where. Probably worth mentioning, Daniel Scott didn't get off the line, which is why he's quite a bit further back now, sadly in last place. And Jordan Hyde's made a couple of places up so far. You see Herlock trying to make moves early on, as he starting in the championship, as that was one of the Kings going right over those very big sausage curves.
So it's tricky. Oh, car going off in the back there, perhaps a bit of contact, but yes, huge sausage curves. You might have noticed these rumble strip curves the drivers typically like to have a little run onto or clip on the apex. They are vicious here at Snetterton. Precision required as we get a replay.
Yep, so that was a very sideways Emil Salberg just there, Honda early on there as we go into this left-hander. So are they going to make it? They just pretty much forget to brake and then get tapped as well. But I think that King's car did not expect the car to come steaming in like that, so I think that's all okay.
Yes, indeed. I think just a little unfortunate, unforced error there. Oh, another car running quite deep through the Montreal hairpin on this, the second time of asking. Just watching here, Martha Allington, a great start, up to 7th place. A huge gain off the start of this race.
Yeah, made 5 spots up, not a bad start. Like I said, Nicholls, I think, hitting those sausage curbs, lost a few places and kind of held a few other people up. As we've got side-by-side here of Herlock against, who's that, 10th place Richardson. I keep getting Jordan Richardson, Jordan Hyde confused. Apologies, it's going to be a long evening if I keep doing that. And that's Herlock up to 10th.
Yeah, classy move, nicely done on the brakes, nice and clean. From the RSR driver making his way forward. I think we'll see these rear-wheel drives certainly have a slight advantage in this infield twisty section, and maybe towards the end of the race as the tyres start to get burnt away with some of these long power corners like Williams here onto the back straight.
Yeah, I was watching Elliott in 5th. I think he was the first person that made use of the boost, but they're kind of in a bit of a race of nowhere at the moment. They've got a nice big gap in front, nice big gap behind. We're looking at Cedo crossing over, looking ahead at the King's guy, crossing around, trying to put Martha under pressure. could be a little cork in the bottle moment. Acedo's now got the inside on Jack Nicholls. Is there space going to be given? Not quite sure. Looks like Nicholls is still ahead.
Yeah, so safely through the bomb hole corner, so named because of an explosion, which has made a nice little bit of camber there. Fun corner to drive through as the bollards already are starting to be relocated. We'll have to send out the groundskeeping crew to fix those. Matt Richards returning to the championship. Looks like he's got a really good run. There's maybe a little bit of boost as well, just powering his way past there, Jordan Richardson, and now up the inside of Herlock. That is the advantage that that boost brings. 3 wide on the way into Richie's. That's bold stuff, but places made by the former champion.
Indeed, there's always a bit of a traffic jam at the hairpin. There's a little bit of argy-bargy going on between the Kings and Cedo there. Just watched Alan Smith had a bit of a sideways moment into the last corner and dropped low, lost a lot of places that they had to give up time back that they gained for that last section. But still running, but just down in 19th.
I think I definitely agree. A little bit of a cork in the bottle forming here. It's P7 all the way down to P12 or so. We haven't talked too much about them yet, but our leaders continue to circulate. Fraser Hart, Dan Kelp continue to be our leading duo. The Kings cars not a million miles behind though, so they're not perhaps having it all their own way. A little bit of boost being used by our leading pair. Here we go, boost on the exit down this long back straight for Fraser this time around. Looks like it's a little bit of just get the distance done, get the laps under the belt, and we'll worry about racing a little bit later on.
Yeah, we've got a replay here of argy-bargy going through turn 1. Matt Richards got the inside line. They went 3 wide. That's always brave, and got one, I think, and backed out of the other, so not a bad little shout there.
Good clean racing, respect. Yeah. Not running too hard, too fast at this stage. Good bit of racing there from all 3 of them.
Yeah, like I said, Martha's kind of now 10 seconds off the leader. It kind of means the top 5, even though they're kind of out front, they've kind of all got bits of gaps to each other. The closest is actually the Kings of Stevens and Scott. But I imagine, knowing that your rival Dan Herlock down in 12th place, not getting many points, you want to bank a few this evening, as I think this is going to get a bit spicy.
It's rush hour in the Norfolk. Down the centre straight, 2 by 2 they come. Martha, I think, a little wiggle on the brakes, and my goodness me, that's a brave attempt by Cedo Wire trying to go all the way around the outside of Richie's. Didn't quite work out. Contact at the mid-corner. Oh no! Huge contact.
Yeah, that was kind of 3 into 1, didn't quite go. And I mean, the only good thing is I don't think it's hit anyone else. They have just about all recovered. But that's kind of taken them all out, and that's all good news for kind of everyone further back, because a load of people just made a bunch of places, including Herlock, who just went from 12th to 9th.
So you've got to keep yourself clean, got to keep yourself in the race to obviously score the big points. Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to get a replay of that one. Oh, a little bit of contact there between Herlock and Salberg there on the apex entry of Agostini of this time of asking. But yes, hard racing and hard to say at this point quite what happened to that trio going through Richie's, risking it all, not coming up with the win this time around.
Maybe they all got scared by the scary tree. That's my only thought there. But it means like people like Jordan Richardson, 14th to 7th is not a bad way to start your evening, is it? And it now means that there's a few people here that can get the odd few points they weren't expecting. I don't know what happened to Nicholls, but he's gone from 5th to 11th this race so far. He seems to be trawling backwards. As Herlock's also gone backwards to 10th, because I think they've only got 1 lap of boost. They're kind of saving it, but that means they're getting swamped by everyone around them. It's got 10 laps of boost.
Yes, the boost factor, I think, is going to start showing its hand as obviously the laps run on. 4 laps done of the 12. So our drivers with normal boost allocation, they of course have 10 laps of boost, so plenty of reserve there for the rest of the race. But our leaders only just a few, I think 1 maybe 2 laps of boost to make use of. So tricky for them as this evening goes on to manage that one. Yellow flag in sector 3, but meanwhile smooth saving still for Fraser Hart and Dan Kell. They are still circulating. I'd say the gap is roughly about the same, although it does appear to me that the gap between Stevens and Kell has opened slightly in the last few laps.
It does, yeah, it's gone up to 1.4 seconds, but it's probably worth pointing out that Kell's got a lot more boost to use. We get a replay here, so we've got Martha on the inside, Cedo on the outside. There's a tap from the back of the, I think from the Infinity that pushed them all wide, and then as I see as Martha's kind of half and half on the track, it's come a little bit sideways back on, and there's 2 other cars there, and it's kind of just then taken all 4 of them out. I think Nicholls did very well there. That's why Nicholls dropped so far back, obviously. Nichols actually was the one to recover the quickest and didn't lose as many places as the ones further behind. Martha now 15th, Cedo 18th, and Matt Richards down in 21st. So, yeah, Nichols the best out of the lot there to recover up to 10th.
Yeah, definitely a case of 3 into 1 did not go, all vying for the same piece of tarmac, and unfortunately they all found the same piece of grass and Armco. So 4 drivers not quite working in as one in tandem there, but 4 drivers who are working as one in tandem is this group here. What's this? P11, P12, P13. Of course, these long straights, lots of slipstreaming opportunity, and this quadology of drivers working together to try and not only catch the cars ahead, but obviously build a gap to the cars behind.
I imagine Herlock at the moment is desperately trying to keep on the back of them for the slipstream because, you know, Ben Willis behind has got lots of extra laps of boost and will be catching them up. So probably Herlock's kind of trying to stop fighting and get on with it, get moving, because, you know, otherwise I'm going to drop even more places. We're also starting to see that Elliott has caught up Mitchell now. Like I said, Well, Mitchell's not used any of his 3 laps, and Elliott's still got another 6. So that's going to be a close one to watch as the 2 guys up ahead of Herlock. He's like, go on, keep going, or take each other out.
A very visible demonstration of what that extra boost power can do as the King's car well and truly under pressure and just disappears into the sunset there, running up the centre straight. But it definitely looks like Herlock's got some pace in his vehicle tonight. We'll have to see how he can use it as the evening moves forward. Matt Richards recovering from that moment just a few laps ago. He's already gained a couple of places up to P18. I believe he was in P20 just a moment ago. So his recovery back on. Also just having a quick look towards our leading duo, it looks like Dan Kell started to make headway and catch up to Fraser Hart. So as we have got past the halfway point of this race, it's all starting to come alive. Cedo Wire hard on the brakes there, getting up to the inside of the Drake BMW.
We've also missed that Elliott is ahead of Scott. Elliott's jumped Scott Mitchell. I think that's under boost on this back straight here. So Elliott's one to watch because I think next it was on the infield apparently. So next up is Stevens, and you're right, Kell and Fraser, the gap down to just half a second. So even though Kell's got less boost to use, looks like maybe they've kept their soft tyres in better condition. But importantly, those 2 drivers have got a nice 6-second gap to this fight. So maybe Kell's thinking right now is the time for us to duke it out.
Yes, I think you've got a reasonable gap to work with there. You'll be able to study the opponent, the driver ahead of you, work out where their car's working well, work out where yours is better. It's just about starting to set up that pass and that overtake. Plenty of time, plenty of boost as they chuck their respective cars into Richie's lovely little dip. You try and hook the inside of that camber there to help drag you round, and you then get spat out just ahead of this Montreal hairpin tight right-hander. So as those 2 continue to duke it out, we've got a fight now over P9 and P10. We've got Jack Nichols trying to get past Daniel Herlock, which he has done there, recovering obviously from that moment a second ago. But Herlock getting up the inside, the over-under. Can he complete the overtake back again on the brakes? Going to be hard to try and run around the outside of the Montreal hairpin, not this time round. Herlock and Nichols continuing to duke it out.
Yeah, Ben Willis at the back there, kind of go on, guys, carry on, keep going. It's worth pointing out, Kell's got 1 extra lap of boost. If I just kind of cursed Ben Willis there because he seemed to have gone off and lost a place. Sorry, Ben. I was going to say is that Kell's got an extra lap of boost over Fraser Hart, I think, but I'm not sure he's got enough laps to use it in, which will be worth keeping an eye on in a second as we see. This is going to be fun to watch. You've got Elliott now in 4th, already on the boost. Stevens saving there. I think they've got 2 laps or 3 laps, saving theirs for later. This should be like taking candy from a baby if the straight is long enough, which I'm not sure. They're going to... yeah, they've definitely done it. Yeah.
Hard on the brakes, although Stevens, I think, fighting it a little bit, not making it as easy as it could have been. But yes, Ryan Elliott using the boost to good effect and just simply out-dragging his rival that time around into Brundle. So yes, the boost well and truly making itself known. We knew this was going to be the case coming in, but of course, drivers finishing in the first race, they will carry a change obviously in boost with respect to where they finish. So Fraser, if he were to finish in P1, he would have just 1 or 2 laps of boost for the second race. So it's not all over for the evening. We will have to see how drivers manage that level of boost as the evening goes on. My word, Dan Kell from downtown smells an opportunity, gets it stopped, room left, and Dan Kell, wow, what a move there into the hairpin. It's not over yet. Hart responding on the exit into this long left-hander Palmer. Difficult corner, moves up and down, undulates as they make their way through, and Fraser Hart retakes the lead of the race, but Dan Kell, I think, has had enough of waiting. He wants to make his way to the point.
Yeah, I think he wants to kind of go for it now. And like I said, the gap between, while all this is going on, the gap is still 6 seconds. We've got a replay here of Mitchell Marm against Ben Willis. So what we're going into the final corner. Whoa, that's an Infinity going a bit. Oh, okay. That was an Infinity going a little bit kind of too hot in. Had to back off. Car ahead of the back off, and Ben just didn't have time to react and lost a load of places there, sadly. That's then down to, I think, 20th position.
Would appear the curse of the commentator is in effect this evening. Hard luck, Ben. But yes, just really wrong place, wrong time for Ben there. Just found himself with nowhere to go. Dan Kell trying to make his way to the front, still running through the Nelson right-hander there, not able to get up the inside of Fraser Hart. Fraser with the fastest lap of the race at this stage, running now into the long right-hander of Coram. Long, flat, you have to brake, you have to slow the car down. Even more tricky in these front-wheel drive machines where all of obviously the weight, the turning force, all in the front. A little bit of too heavy braking, you get a handbrake effect on your rear axle. So those two drivers making their way through very nicely, crossing the start-finish line. 8 laps in the book, 9 now on the board.
Yeah, I'm just trying to work out, like I said, Kell's got that one extra lap of boost to use. So that could be a fun final, as they're kind of looking at kind of just putting their car in really awkward places now for Hart, and just kind of definitely there. I think Kell's got the speed, but I think it's the overlap and it's kind of saving Hart at the moment. So maybe Kell's just like, well, it's okay, I'll just keep following for a bit. Or they're going to dive down the inside here to have the inside of the hairpin. It's probably a good use of boost, but they're both on it. Hart to defend and Kell to attack. Kell is not allowed that inside line, has to go the long way round, and it's probably too far. I've never done an overtake round the outside that hairpin, and
no! Contact. We got Hart spun round there from Kell. Oh goodness, that was some really fantastic racing, good defensive driving, but 2 into 1 again did not go. Hopefully we might be able to get a replay, see what we can see from that one, but
just about to say,
Hart coming off the worst there.
Yeah, Hart's. Luckily there's a big gap between 5th and 6th, so he's kind of slotted back in 6th place. I was just about to say, it's really hard to overtake around the outside here because you'll never get given any space. And I think Dan Kell, was like, well, I'm here. I am on the outside. You do need to give me space, and none was given. But maybe I should withhold blame until we see a replay of that one, as we see Callum Wilson fighting Scott Mitchell Marm and up into 4th.
So lovely move there for the Sector 1 Esports driver. I think, again, perhaps a little bit of boost coming into play, perhaps a little bit of tyre life as well. We've got a group here now fighting over 2nd and 3rd. Let's see what we can see here on the replay. Little dive to the outside, the normal racing line, as Phil was just saying. Hard work to complete a move there. And I think, there's just a little bit of overlap. I think Fraser just trying to come across, cover the line. And unfortunately, the front of that Ford Focus was still there.
Yeah, we'll leave the stewards to that one, have a play with. But I did feel that, Kell has made that outside line work and needed a little bit more space, as Fraser may have opened the steering to kind of take the racing line back. But there was a Ford Focus bonnet and then some there. So, we'll leave that one to the stewards. As we see Callum Wilson now fancies a podium here. 4th place. You can see 3rd and 2nd. 2nd with Elliott there is probably going to be a bit hard to push on, but definitely there's a podium. Although Stevens has still got those 2 laps of boost, so can use a little bit of defending.
Yes, so we've got a 4-way scrap here for the podium with that little bit of contact just now. So we'll have to keep an eye on this group as they close out the first race of this evening. Just also scanning up and down. We've got quite a few drivers still scrapping over P6, 7 and 8. They're all in close proximity. Let's have a look what's going on here. Cedar Wire in 13th, under attack from a recovering Matt Richards.
Yeah, these are 2 of the cars that went off, and Jack Nichols actually in 15th. Those 3 cars were involved. And Martha in 12th. So actually, you've got the group of 4 that had a big incident earlier and now back together again in 12th, 13th, 14th and 15th, fighting over a handful of points rather than a top 5 finish.
Yes, that's somewhat amusing how that's worked out, hasn't it? But there we go. Hopefully, when they get back to dueling each other, it will go a bit more smoothly this time around. But yes, Martha recovering back up to the lead of this group. I believe Nichols was best away to begin with, so perhaps a little bit of racing off camera as we've been covering other events.
Yeah, I'm just kind of keeping an eye on. I think looking at that last fight for the podium spot, I think Scott Mitchell-Marm is doing Tom Stevens a big favour because you've kind of got Scott fighting Callum, which means Callum can't fight Tom. It's going to be a fight for boost though down here as they all kind of turn it on as we head onto the penultimate lap. And has Callum got enough to use? It says a yellow in sector 2. Well, that's Stephen saying you're not having the inside turn 1, thank you. I'll have that. But Callum really does fancy that podium.
Indeed, a few puffs of smoke. Can't tell if that was from Stevens or from Elliott, the car ahead. Definitely looks like Wilson's got some fight in him. He definitely wants to find himself on the podium to complete the first race of this evening. And as you were saying, Phil, a little bit of tag team action here between the King's cars. This might be music also to Ryan Elliott's eyes. He can just focus on hitting his marks. All four drivers using the boost there to try and get a gap, but looks like Wilson, he's now trying the outside line. Oh, he's gotten a bit squirrely in that rear wheel drive car, struggling to put down the traction. It looks like Scott Mitchell-Marm is going to be the beneficiary. Hamilton is going to be tough to go too wide through. Oh, and there's contact. Mitchell-Marm ends up in the tyre wall and spinning. Oh, goodness me, it's getting a bit spicy towards the end of this race.
We've still got 2 more races to go after this. Yeah, Scott's got quite a bit of damage. I'm not sure they are continuing. They're down to 7th. Not sure which way the steering wheel is going to be pointed on that one anymore, but this now gives Callum a bit more of a chance at fighting Stevens here with no one to attack from behind.
Yes, I think I saw also just another little gathering and collision of cars on the infield there as we watch these drivers make their way down the Bentley straight. Let's see what happened here. Oh my goodness me, Scott Mitchell-Marm getting such a good drag, getting that front left tyre hooked on the curb, gets himself in position, a little bit of a rub there. Hamilton, oh, it's tough to go too wide through there and just not enough space. These cars so on edge. You just saw that slight tap, both cars start to rotate, and then that tyre wall just finishing the job.
Yep, where's that car going? Just about keeping on circuit. Yeah, that one, again, you probably need to see it from the outside how much overlap there was there, but I will point out that it did look like that Wilson had more speed going into that corner, so we'll have to see it from the outside as to how much overlap there was and did they need to give space to the car in front. The most of the touches, it's just a problem that you've got a solid wall tyre stack there that has claimed the Kings there, but they are still going. They're currently holding 7th, so maybe they still get a serious bout of points as we are on our final lap, and it would be worth seeing what's going on between. We've got Thomas Wack here in 9th and Jordan Richardson in 8th.
Yeah, fighting hard in the shadow of the scary tree in the background there. No way past this Hyundai at the moment for Vac, but looks like he's taken the wider line, got a good cutback, good exit, defence there from Richardson as they run down into the Agostini hairpin. Plenty of action here so far. And oh, God, blimey, late on the brakes and then some contact at the midpoint. That's not the fastest way to make the way around the corner. And who's in the wings? Dan Herlock waiting for the first opportunity to pounce. Wowee, around the outside. Vac got the good exit, good traction there. He takes that P8 position from Richardson.
Yep, as Dan Kell is currently doing the last few corners. He's had, obviously a bit of contact there with Fraser Hart that we'll need to look into. But after that has both of them kind of sailed away early on with those soft tyres, and it's Dan Kell that's going to benefit the most from them.
It's a 3-race format that we run here at VMO. It's critical to get a good first race of the evening in the books, and that's exactly what Dan Kell has done here. A little bit of drama in the midpoint, but otherwise a textbook drive from the Calamity driver as he powers his way down the centre straight for the final time in this race. A little bit of celebration. He crosses the line to win race 1 this evening as we wait for our remaining runners and riders to cross the line. A big old scrap here in the midfield. We've now got Matt Richards at the point of this quadrology of drivers. We've got Martha, we've got, I believe that's Jack Nichols, and a Dre car in the background there as well, all scrapping over the final few points paying positions as they break and turn their way through Murray's for the final time. Looks like they are going to finish as they entered the corner. They exit powering past the start finish straight, and looks like Richards is going to come home ahead of Allington and Nichols.
Yeah, poor Drake was far off getting a point there. But Nichols holding on, 5th to 15th, but is holding on to a point at least, as we've still got a few people to finish. So Harley London also had a few issues race-wise. We only have one retirement out of all that, by the way. Daniel Scott retired on lap 9. Didn't even notice. There's so much going on in that kind of at the front and in the midfield. Great fun to watch, and 24 started, 23 are going to finish. It's not bad going for race 1, but that was a lot more argy-bargy for a race 1 than we're used to.
Yes, we'll have to see if that's a sign of the things to come. I think we're definitely going to have to watch the commentary curses as the evening goes on. But yes, an action-packed first race as our drivers want to leave their mark early this evening and in round 3. Action-packed racing. So in our first race tonight, our first 12 laps of the Snetterton circuit completed. Let's bring you the classification, the finishing order here from race 1.
After a breather, because I need a breather after that. There we go.
All right, so we have our race winner Dan Kell, followed home by Ryan Elliott and Tom Stevens, rounding out that podium. Callum Wilson for Sector 1 Esports finished in 4th place, followed by our pole sitter Fraser Hart following that moment in the midpoint of the race. Emil Sarberg for Creek Racing by Kings came home in 6th, a good race result for him, followed by Scott Mitchell-Marm, Thomas Vack and Jordan Richardson scrapping at the end there. Our top 10 concluded by Daniel Hurlock.
Yeah, some solid points there still, obviously, for the championship leader. Carl Benson, Team 22's first independent points on the board in 11th. Cedo Y in 12th. Matt Richards, first points of the season, obviously first race of the evening. Season in 13th. Martha Allington in 14th, and Jack Nichols getting that last point in 15th. Robin Warning in 16th, with Mitch Marie in 17th. Jordan Hyde started from the back, finished 18th. Matthew Williams 19th, and Ben Willis we saw had an issue down the last corner, and many commentators' curses. I'm so sorry. I think I'm going to get abuse later on about that one. Down in 20th. And then it was Dave Brewster in 21st. Alan Smith sadly didn't start 16th, neither finished 16th, finished 22nd. Harley London there, finishing 23rd, last driver to finish, and it was Daniel Scott, the only DNF.
Say a busy first race. Not what I was expecting to pan out this evening, Phil. Snetterton, it's normally all comes together in that final race with the reverse grid, with the boost. We still have that to come, of course. But action-packed racing, and I think, again, we've got some familiar names making their familiar trademark consistent results and point scoring, making that felt known.
Yeah, and it's now, like as we've always commented, we're now going to have the likes of Hurlock's going to be starting 10th, but with 10 laps of boost rather than just the one. So how much can they make up? Likewise, obviously, Elliott there with the win, started with 10 laps of the boost, will now only have one. So it kind of switches it all up rather nicely for race 2.
It will, and another factor that will be making itself known is the tyre allocation and strategy. The reason I highlight it, a lot of drivers in our second race this evening will be on that soft tyre. We certainly saw the soft tyre seem to help those get off the line well at the start of that first race. We'll have to see how half the grid do when they all have that advantage.
Yeah, half the grid. Race 2 are starting on those softs. Harley London, Dan Hurlock, Jordan Richardson, Daniel Scott, Martha Allington, Matthew Williams, Tom Stevens, Robin Bowling, David Brewster, Ben Willis, Alan Smith, and Callum Wilson are going to be our race 2 soft tyre runners, which will then leave 6 of them for race 3.
So a lot of action to look forward to in the second race tonight. If you're a new viewer, welcome. Lovely to have you along. If you'd like to find out more about Virtual Motorsport Online and TCUK, feel free to head on over to the website vmo-simracing.co.uk. You can find out more about the league, about the championship, the wonderful community we have, the Discord server we have, and who knows, you may find yourself on the grid before too long. And a variety of racing to be had, of course, at VMO as well. We've got, of course, our Touring Car Championship here, but we also have the like of the World Rally Series on Richard Byrne Rally. There's a little bit of everything here at VMO. So if you're interested, do feel free to head on over to the website to find out more.
Yeah, I quite like Richard Byrne's Rally. I kind of got into it this season. I do like my rally games. Been playing a little bit of the old Assetto Corsa Rally with the update now that I finally got my steering wheel working. Yeah, I've kind of got... I'm very good at going sideways. The problem is I usually ended up going sideways in touring cars, which is not the way to go. Although, obviously, in the rear-wheel drives, you've seen it with Hurlock a bit this season. You're not as big a rally fan, are you? Do you enjoy watching it at least, or?
Oh no, I would definitely and quite happily suggest that rally drivers are perhaps the most talented and have the best car control of any driver, plus the bravery. I cannot imagine throwing a car, say 100 kilometers an hour plus through a gravel path which is only just as wide as your car, and there's a cliff to the right of you or something. My goodness, an incredible skill set, and it's great that things like Richard Burns Rally exists, that we can obviously simulate that, enjoy that, from the fastest Rally 1 cars right down to the likes of the Skoda Favorites. So
What a beast! The
what a beast.
build.
What a beast.
My 113 horsepower. I just realised it has the same amount of power as my current new car. 113 horsepower.
There you go. Skoda were onto something when they built that beast in the, I don't know, was it the 80s, the 90s?
It was the 80s.
Yes. So there you go.
Yeah. How old it is. Isn't even the Czech Republic. Should we talk about Snetterton and our time there? That was quite a good time.
I was going to say, we both had the privilege of going up to Snetterton for, gosh, I forget the year now, but the 60th anniversary British touring car race that they ran here. Fantastic facility. Would highly recommend it if you're tempted. Great viewing positions. You can see the virtual spectators on the bank here, overlooking the Bentley Straight. Great view of all of the infield from there. But yes, when we went, Phil, we didn't quite have the weather on our side, did we?
On the Saturday it was okay. But we had a look around the Saturday. It was quite dry. But I remember the Sunday. Yes, it absolutely chucked it down. I remember proudly sitting there on my seat with my umbrella and my waterproof coat and my waterproof trousers and basically waterproof underpants. And I remember Mr. Willis and a previous driver here, Lewis Redshaw, were kind of huddling together under one umbrella in their jeans, completely soaked through. I don't even think we watched the whole race. I remember we watched the whole race, but then kind of quickly left for the other two races, and ended up at our friend's house, eating cake, watching the Hungarian Grand Prix and the other two races at their house. But I remember being amazed at how easy it was to also leave the place, because where we grew up, our local circuit was Thruxton, and the race to the gate or the race out of the car park was a spectacle to behold, whereas Snetterton had about 4 lanes to get out, so it was much easier.
Yes. So nothing against Thruxton. Of course, we visit there just before our summer break, but yes, slightly different exiting facilities for the spectators.
I have to ask also our cameraman extraordinaire, which Lamborghini... our cameraman extraordinaire has just dropped in the chat. Have I mentioned I've driven a Lamborghini round here? We're going to need some more info, Mr. Cameraman, which I'm sure he's writing down right now. I also remember doing the different league. We did the Jubilee race, the double-length race, and they made a mistake of not limiting the maximum rainfall, and the rainfall hit 100%, and I was in the Subaru Lavorg, and I pitted early for wets, because it was one of those where, mumble grumble, I'm down in 14th. I might as well try the wets, and I think I finished like 4th or 5th. I wasn't on the podium, but I made a bunch of places up, because it got so hard to rain that it was basically undrivable. And what's our cameraman saying? A lovely green convertible Huracan on a track day. Also a manual stick shift Dodge Challenger Hellcat and Chevy Camaro. Now that's more up your street, isn't it, Chuggy?
I'm partial to a bit of V8 motor, so yes.
Oh, that would be a bit of a... I've not done a track day like that. I keep threatening to do one at Thruxton, as again my local track, or even Silverstone, but Snetterton must be a good fun one on the 300. Also, have you driven the 200? Because it's 100 and 200, isn't there? Have you driven either of the other circuits online?
I've not raced them online, but of course Snetterton has been in all sorts of titles and sims in the various form factors. I remember my first experience of Snetterton was on the PS1 Toka touring cars game, where you would just turn right at what is now the Montreal hairpin and just go straight down the Bentley Straight.
Basically a square, wasn't it, you were driving on?
Absolutely. In fact, from memory, I think it even had a bit of the old runway as part of the exit there. So yes, I do think Snetterton, people, if you will, sleep on it as a circuit. I think it can offer a lot. The shorter infield circuit is great for lower powered cars. You can learn a lot about with just the subtle undulations and different expectation and asks on the car. Through some of these longer corners, you can learn a lot about not only your technique but what makes a car tick. So I do rate Snetterton a lot, and it's a shame you don't see it more often.
Yes, definitely. Downsides, a bit of a pain to get to, being on the right of the Southie. We had to go, obviously, again, we kind of Hampshire, Oxfordshire way, having to play on the M25 all the way around to get there. Bit of a pain. But yeah, it's still worth going to. I was talking to someone, a fellow dad at the school playground waiting for church kids. He said that one year, he could remember the year it was back in the 90s, they went to every single touring car race apart from one, and the only one they didn't go to, instantly what I thought was, well, not Hill, Snetterton. That's it. They've been to Snetterton since, but one year they did every single touring car round. We're worth knowing if anyone else in chat or our fellow racing drivers have done more than one touring car race in a season.
Yeah, no, that's some dedication to follow the whole championship round. That's no small mean feat, but no, hey, I can think of worse ways to spend a year.
Definitely so. It was, I think the cars are just about making their way off the grid, so we'll get some live pictures very soon for race 2. Yeah, obviously, again, the boost is going to mix it all up a little bit. You know, we're going to have drivers now that are going to have a lot more boosts. Like I said, Herlock, one to watch for 10th place, is going to be my one. And, you know, likewise, can those Kings and other cars kind of hold on to the positions where they start?
Yeah, we will see. Let's run through that starting order for race 2 this evening. Race winner Daniel Kell holds on to the point. He will start in pole position, followed by Ryan Elliott and Tom Stevens. Callum Wilson, first independent driver, will be in 4th. Fraser Hart starting 5th. Emil Salberg will be followed by Scott Mitchell-Marm, Thomas Vack and Jordan Richardson round out P8 and P9, with Daniel Herlock starting P10.
It's then Carl Benson for Team 22, car number 5, starting 11th, Manchester United 0. Cedo Wire in 12th place with Matt Richards in 13th. Martha Allington 14th with Jack Nichols 15th. It's then Robin Mooling for Drag Racing in 16th. Mitch Marie for the Pans Panda UK Racing in 17th. Jordan Hyde obviously started at the back of the grid for race 1, up to 18th for race 2. They'll be hoping for another 6 or so places in race 2 here. Matthew Williams in 19th, Ben Willis is in 20th, you've got Dave Brewster in 21st, Alan Smith in 22nd, and it's Harley London in 23rd. Just a note to say that Daniel Scott last minute has had to run away, hence why they are showing us in the pit, so they are not taking part. I'm not quite sure why Carl Benson, though, however, is in the pit. Have I missed something there? I thought they were on the grid just now, but they are starting, They are currently at the end of the pit lane. Yeah,
they definitely were circulating with everyone else and returned back to the pit, so perhaps issue with tyres or perhaps an issue with the hardware failure maybe, but hopefully Carl will be joining us in that Team 22 car from 11th, well, but not 11th now, from the pit lane start, so a lot of work for him to do, but plenty of time to do it.
It's a long old hold, if I remember correctly, as well, in this one, to wait for everyone to get past the pit exit, and then obviously they've got so much speed that you're going to be so far back. Not the best start, you know, you'll basically be going from 11th to 23rd. Yeah, that's suboptimal.
Yes, suboptimal indeed, but still better to take the race start and work your way into it. You know, good, obviously finishing that first race. So there's pace in his Team 22 car. We'll just have to see how he can make use of it.
That's what you need, a Type 22B.
Now you're talking my kind of language. Anyway, as our drivers make their way to the grid, you can see that gap where Carl would have positioned himself. Looks like everyone is pretty much in position. We wait for those lights and the engine notes to rise. Lights out and away we go on board of Matt Richards, well and truly running into that free air left by Carl Benton. Looks like Dan Kell's gotten away well, so has Tom Stevens. Ryan Elliott falling back slightly off the start as the cones go flying. Everyone flies into Ritchie's for this, the first time of asking.
It looks like everyone's made it through turn 1 alive. Are we all going to make it through turn 2? We've got a few 2x2s going on, but it looks like everyone's being rather civil towards each other on the exit, on the entry, so far so good, as Stevens isn't going to give that up. He's got to look at the outside line to then get the inside later on. No, definitely not going to happen there. Remember, the first lap, no boost, and Stevens has a couple of extra in their back pocket for later. It just needs to kind of bide their time and just kind of hold on to the back there of Dan Kell.
trying to make the most of those soft tyres off the start. Best opportunity to try and obviously make a place as is at the start. Tom Stevens continuing to try and find his way past Dan Kell. Here we've got Matt Richards. Dynamite start from him, up to 10th already, as we've now got 3 for the lead. Looks like Tom Stevens well and truly onto the rear wing of that Calamity Ford Focus, and Ryan Elliott is coming along for the ride, running wide out onto the Bentley straight using all of the available road. Tom Stevens trying to side draft his way past the Calamity car as they go under the bridge here into the Brundle Bend for the first time of asking.
Yep, so far so good. Looks like Herlock's sadly went quite far backwards. They're down to 13th, plus 3 places off the grid so far. Richards has obviously made 3 places up in the meantime.
So here we'll get a replay of what happened to Dan Herlock off the start of this one. But as our drivers make their way around the Coram curve for the first time of this second race, got a driver going all the way around the outside. Is that Herlock potentially throwing it up the inside, trying to make some places? Robust driving there. And yes, it is. Herlock up to 12th, so already trying to recover some places. Not an ideal start for our championship leader.
No, it's a bit of a shame there, really. So here we go, get a replay here. So what happens here? So we've got Herlock just bogged down, really. Just a bogged down BMW start and kind of swamped by Martha trying to find a gap somewhere to make a good start. As I said, see one of the cones going somewhere. And then, Martha going very wide. I think basically it's a poor start and then got swamped by the grid. As we see Matt Richards on the back of Thomas Wack there, over 9th and 10th.
Yeah, on the boost, Wack trying to defend, using it as a defensive tool. Of course, you can use it to overtake, you can use it to defend. Wack doing the latter this time around, hard on the brakes into the Agostini hairpin. Richards putting that loud pedal to full effect, getting his Infinity really loose there on the exit. Not going to be helpful to carry the momentum. And now he's got Dan Herlock well and truly for company on the brakes. They go into boggies.
We've got a start here, Thomas Wack. Not sure what happened here. We're going to go 3 wide early on and nearly get squashed. That's why all the cones went absolutely flying. It's worth noting we've got 2x2 at the front of the grid so far. Elliott, Stevens, Hell and Hart nearly going 4 wide here. Are they going to all make it under the bridge? Little tap from each other there. Are they going to make it through here? Please don't take each other out early on. It looks like we've all survived it, but it's well, who do you think's in the lead here?
I think one of the duo, Stevens or Elliott, they're sharing, yes. It will be sorted out, I imagine, in the next 10 seconds or so, as the combination of Coram and Murray's will sort everyone out. A big old bump and rub. Oh no! Rotation! Stevens is rotated around as 2 again going to 1. Paint trading contact with the second King's car there, coming through Murray's, minding its own business. Kell down to 3rd, back up to 1st. My goodness me, race 2 is carrying on where race 1 finished.
It does seem that way, doesn't it? It's a bit too argy-bargy there. I think that was Stevens locked up and just couldn't get the car slowed down as Kell basically needed to turn in. Had nowhere to go, as we now see Salberg now giving the other Honda a little nudge. As this will be good news for Kell, as again more fighting kind of going on behind.
Yes, all sorts of action going on up and down out of the exit of the Montreal hairpin. This lap 3 of 12. Our current fastest lap of the race is held by Matthew Williams down in 15th place. I think a chance of a point possibly there. We will see as our drivers sort themselves out. Pretty much everyone nose to tail. It's one big pack here so far. No such spreading of drivers as we saw in the first race.
No, so we've got a replay here. Stevens trying to recover places now and kind of shucked it down the inside. Nearly going on 2 wheels. Kind of forced the issue, and that gave that other Hyundai Craven a chance to make a couple up, as we see like a little boost. Like it is like a boost train. There's a bit more of a gap between 2nd and 3rd, but other than that, they're kind of all nose to tail, really.
So we're more used to obviously drafting perhaps on the ovals over in the United States, but we've got some drafting and some slipstream parties going on here at Snetterton tonight. Everyone making their way out here from the Nelson right-hander. Cedo Wire chucking his Brabham Honda Civic Type R all over the back now of Matt Richards. He is going to have to keep an eye out for this fast-moving Brabham car down into the Murray's corner. Hard on the brakes, but nothing doing this time around. We do have a scrap though. Fraser Hart on the boost and passing Dan Kell for the lead. Fraser obviously having that little bit of adversity early on, but he's back leading in race 2.
And again, this is back to Dan Kell in second place, only having 1 lap of boost, whereas the drivers around them have got 5 and 6. So holding on to that boost for as long as they can to kind of protect themselves later on, but in doing so, they've had to sacrifice the lead.
Indeed. Emil Saarberg, fantastic run so far, up to 3rd place in his Honda Civic. Jordan Richardson also doing well, catching up. So all sorts of scraps and action going on, and I see plenty of 2x2 driving here. We've got Dan Hurlock recovering up to 6th place, I believe this is, passing Scott Mitchell-Marr.
Didn't they do it down to 13th at one point? So that's one hell of a comeback for Hurlock. But again, I'm guessing it's back to fastest car on the boost on the softs. So it's the way to do it, and it's working very well for them.
Yep, the trifecta being used to full effect. Plenty of time still to make even more places in the lead. Just a few seconds up the road.
Yeah,
anything can happen.
They're kind of like you said. It's not like the first race where after a couple of laps they all spread out a little bit. The first 2 softs ran off. There was a group that kind of 3rd to 5th, and then Mark Allington and everyone else backwards from there. Whereas this one, because they're all kind of chopping and changing places, it means that even 14th position is only 6 seconds off the lead.
It's good stuff. It's going to keep us on our toes, won't it, Phil? To call the action, which is non-stop so far, as they round through Bombhole into Coram once again. A little bit of a gap opening for Fraser Hart now, of course, on the medium tyre, not the soft, so we'll have to see how he can manage that slightly harder compound, more durable, but not quite as fast. Here we've got some more 2x2 action. Martha Allington currently 16th, and my goodness me, it's a car park into Murray's. This the 4th time of asking, but everyone making their way through. Doesn't matter what position it's for. Hard, fair racing up and down the grid.
Yeah, and obviously these cars know that top 12 do have the reverse pole draw for race 3, so 12th place at least is what they expect, what they're hoping for. But points down to 15th, and these guys aren't even the points and fighting for it. So as Martha's got the inside, that's a little bit of a shoulder barge, but just about both cars survive.
Yes, certainly robust, a robust attempt. Not quite clean as a whistle, but all pointing in the right direction. Oh my goodness me! Oh, that was I think that was one of the Craven cars trying to get the run through through the Palmer corner. And my goodness me, spark show. Matthew Williams hearing from cameraman extraordinaire, thank you, just trying to take the advantage, and there's a little undulation. Those curbs are brutal, and unfortunately Matthew finding out the hard way.
Yeah, up and over goes Jason Photo moment that was. We also missed Mitch Marie as retired as well. Not quite sure if Matthew Williams is still going, apparently according to that they are. So let's get a replay here. So they're going to have take a little bit too much curb on the inside of turn 3, and then I'm guessing R Factor is going to do R Factor things, and yes. Yeah, that's R Factor didn't quite know what to do with that, so yes, that's them, I think, out.
Yeah, I think we all like a touring car on 2 wheels showing commitment, but unfortunately for Williams on this time of asking, it did not go in his favour. Not so stylish. Fraser Hart, while all that has been going on, has built a comfy little 2-second gap, so that's pretty good going from the Brabham driver. Meanwhile, Jordan Richardson up to 2nd place, overtaking Dan Kell, but now we've got Dan Hurlock recovering up to 3rd. So those soft tyre runners making moves. Yeah,
13th, well, like I said, 13th at one point, 5 laps later, up to 3rd. I mean, they can win this. Yeah, same amount of boost as Richardson, also on the softs. But if those two think about it and work together, they could pile some pressure to Fraser Hart at the end of this race.
They absolutely could. We will have to keep an eye on it as it plans out. But yes, if they work together, close down that 2-second or so advantage that Hart has produced, they will both benefit from that. Just riding on board here with Ryan Elliott, chasing down Thomas Vack, and he's got Callum Wilson for close company. Looks like we've got Cedar Wire, I think, just making his way through there.
He did, and actually up ahead, you may have just seen Hurlock's actually already got ahead of Jordan Richardson. So he said, look, I'm going straight for Fraser Hart, like, let's go, but I'm going. So Daniel Hurlock up to 2nd, 1.8 seconds the gap to Fraser Hart. A few extra laps of boost, and it's definitely on, isn't it? We've got a yellow in step 2 for a few seconds.
So it would appear so. So Yes, the second race, much like the first, delivering in all sorts of action. Already Herlock making significant strides to try and catch our race leader. So we'll have to keep on top of this one for you. As we've got a car running well wide there on the exit of the Nelson Bend. And my goodness me, was that Herlock really trying to open up the entry to Coram? I can't say I've seen that before. Really pushing to try and catch our race leader there.
Well, it's gone from 1.7 seconds to 1.3. So whatever they're doing, it's working, and they should keep doing it, because definitely the race winner is on the cards. If I remember correctly, Herlock's got a bit of a thing for this, hasn't it? They always seem to struggle in race 1, understandable, less boost, and then use that boost in race 2 for the win.
Yes, over the round so far, Dan Herlock has won quite a few race 2s, so we'll have to see if he can keep that trend going. We will see. Fastest lap of the race. Thank you, cameraman extraordinaire, for that one. So he is on the march. Oh, God, blimey! I think that's two RSR kart placed by RSR cars getting very friendly on the apex there of the Montreal hairpin that time around. Not ideal. Wack and Elliott, but they are still pointing in the right direction. As we now focus on our leading duo, as it now is Herlock wasting no time catching up to Hart.
Yeah, Jordan's trying to hold on for dear life to kind of keep up with them in case anything kicks off. Kel, like I said, holding 4th, but Scott Mitchell-Marm in 5th. It's not too far behind there. There you go, all in shot, and then you get another line of cars. Again, it's amazing that, top 15 are within 10 seconds of each other, which is very rare over halfway through a race. Yeah, that looks like Hart's gone wide. They're both going on boost, but I think Herlock's going to have this.
So Hart using some boost. That's it. That's his allocation done, I believe, for the rest of the race. A little mistake on the run out onto the Bentley straight from Williams. Easy to do. Just a little bit impatient on the power. It drags you wide. And Dan Herlock needs no introduction. He will quite happily take that place. He is now total move along from 13th all the way up to 1st. And I've been waiting to say that for some time.
Yeah, a great start. Terrible start, sorry, but great recovery. Extra 4 laps of boost, soft tyres, clean air. This should be straightforward. I was thinking about this a bit more. It was actually last season that Herlock kept winning race 2. So far this season, they have finished 3rd and 2nd in races 2.
So focusing here on Jack Nicholls, looks like he's trying to make his way forward past Salberg, who's having a great race, pair of races so far this evening. Nicholls trying to go around the outside of Ritchie's, which is going to be a tough ask, but he will open and cross over Salberg here on the exit. Will he be able to get a move done on the brakes? No, not on this time of asking. Into the Montreal hairpin they go. Got a little group here, all coalescing around that P10, P11, P12 finishing position, which, as Phil mentioned a few moments ago, our reverse grid, of course, is from P6 to P12. So everything to fight for. Drivers desperately wanting to make their way forward, give themselves the best possible chance of starting towards the front for our 3rd race.
Yeah, so Nicholls having a little nibble at the back of that Honda. It's kind of put in a very bright yellow car, letting them know where they are. And yeah, I think Hart's going to be a little bit of trouble in the end of this race, because the likes of Mitchell-Marm and Richardson are going to start catching them up with the boost in the straight. It's worth probably over a second. So that gap, I imagine, is going to come down very quickly.
Yeah, we'll have to see how Richardson does, particularly on the soft tyres. That seemingly is working a real treat for Herlock, so I imagine Richardson will be able to make some progress. And there we go, straight away, big move on the brakes from Jordan Richardson in the PMR powered by Roches & Co Racing Hyundai. Didn't quite close the move and complete the move this time around, but clearly showing his intent. He wants to take a further step on that podium.
Yeah, I think it's a case of when, not if. If you're Fraser Hart, do you just kind of, not exactly let them go, but you want to lose the least amount of time? Because if you start fighting this, the likes of Mitchell-Marm, Dan Kell, why you saw this in shot there, those 3 cars could be on top of you very quickly as well, as Richardson's going to use the boost, have the inside for turn 1, and this should be signed, sealed and delivered.
It looks to be so. I think you're absolutely right as well, Phil. You need racecraft is both, positioning your car, defending, attacking well, but also thinking of your long overall race pace and strategy. And sometimes it is just a bit more effective to let that quicker car go by, so you lose the least time possible. So Richardson has made his way forward. We'll have to see if Hart can respond as the race goes on. No boost, but those tyres, those soft tyres on Richardson's Hyundai will definitely start to feel a little worse for wear as we're on lap 9 of 12, the final quarter of this race. So they make their way into the Agostini hairpin. Here we can see still action up and down the grid. Ben Willis in his Hyundai, in his Infinity, I beg your pardon, getting around the outside of the Drake car into Agostini. So a bit brave, a little bit of rally skills on show.
Yeah, and obviously 15th. Oh, but talking of rally skills, where's that car going? Not sure what was going on there, but that was a bit weird. Up to 16th, and yeah, I think Robin has had some issues with their internet because they have somewhat parked the car now. So yeah, Willis up to 16th. Fraser Hart now under pressure from Scott Mitchell-Marm. Boost inside, done. I think, yeah, Hart is a bit of a sitting duck here at the moment.
So boost strategy, one of those many things that our drivers have to keep on top of, and it perhaps may be that Fraser has used too much too quickly, whereas everyone else has just kept their powder dry. Of course, drivers will gain and lose boost from the finishing order of this second race. Might be that Fraser actually finishes up with a fairly similar amount of boost for the third race, so all good experience to use in the race to conclude this evening's action.
The only good thing now is that Dan Kell, the next car behind, only has one lap of boost. So they too will soon be under pressure from the cars behind them, but maybe they can't attack straight away. So a bit of a respite, I think, for Fraser Hart now in fourth, as we see Cedar Wire going up the inside of Dan Kell. He's still got 3 laps of boost to use. So now that's the next, that's teammates at least. So not end of the world if you lose a place to your teammate, I suppose.
That's true. Perhaps a little bit of formation flying. We've seen the likes of Kings be very wise as a team, be smart, heads up driving, get the best result possible for the team. I'm sure Brabham will try and work something else, something out like that as well. While this moving and shaking has been going on, Dan Hurlock continues to build his gap. He's now got a comfortable 3-second advantage over Jordan Richardson, who has a 3-second advantage himself to Scott Mitchell-Marm. So all starting to settle towards the front of the field, but as you may have just seen on the camera shot as they cross the start-finish line, a huge conga line of cars all the way from 4th through to about P10 or so, all very much still together, and any single mistake could be pounced on.
Yeah, because it's definitely not 3 seconds between Jordan Richardson and Scott Mitchell-Marm, mate, because that's the gap you just saw there. So there's going to be a little fight here, I think, on boost, as they're both making use of it. Like you said, Richardson with those soft tyres, they're going to try and hold it. I think they should be able to, unless Scott Mitchell does something crazy, but as for now, thought better of it.
So always good to be proven wrong and have cars closer in proximity than the other way around. So good to see we've got a scrap here for 2nd and 3rd place. Great result either way around, but of course Scott wanting to try and get that one higher finishing position, carry on the good momentum for himself and the Kings team so far. So we'll have to see what he can do and if he can get past Jordan Richardson.
Yep, I see Cedo's got past Fraser. I imagine that was a slightly easier pass. And the likes of Jack Nichols and Emil Salberg are now lining up with 2 laps to go. See if they too can make up places.
So just hearing from our race director that we've just had a disconnect, unfortunately, for Dan Kell. So hugely impactful. Our race 1 winner. He's disconnected. He's reconnected. We're hearing. So he's rejoined the race. But what was a strong second race, which was being built by the Calamity driver, unfortunately undone by a technical issue.
Oh, that's a real shame, and obviously now, Hurlock going to get a nice handful of points. And what place were, I'm trying to work out what place they were running in before they lost the place. They were running up in 6th place, and yeah, on the back straight, sadly just lost connection, reconnected. So that's a real shame.
Say we might not have mechanical failures or issues of that sort in the virtual world, but we have our own types of technical issues and failures. So unfortunate for Dan. Oh my goodness me, that was a bit of a robust bump there from the King's car.
Yeah,
to Fraser.
I think if they're clever, they'll give it back, which I suppose they're trying to. But the problem is they're trying to give it back and also not lose places here, as Emil wants to make it go 3 wide, and can't blame Emil. If you're going to slow down, I'm going to overtake.
I was going to say, squabbling between these two has going to cause some issues. Looks like Emil's made his way through, so has the King's car, and so has Callum Wilson, putting together a strong pair of races So our leader still remains to be Dan Hurlock. We've got a close fight still for P2 and P3. Mitchell Marm now ahead of Jordan Richardson. We'll have to see if Jordan can do anything on his soft tyres. A little look there, moving around in the mirrors, making Scott double and triple guess where his opponent is. But up into second place goes Scott using his boost. This on the 11th time of asking. We're now already on our final lap of the race, Phil. My goodness, more action being delivered by this fantastic track.
Yep, and Hurlock now 3 and a bit seconds up the road, kind of cruising away for the win. I can't see Mitchell Marr or Richardson pushing for that. What I can see, however, is the kings of Jack Nicholls and Emil Salberg fighting. So quite a few fights still to sort out here. And yeah, Cedo Wire isn't too far behind Jordan, so that could be a switch for 4th place before the end of this race.
Yeah, it does appear that now he's been unleashed. Scott Mitchell Marm building a very comfortable gap. Maybe those soft tyres are feeling a bit second-hand. We'll have to see if Cedo can work his way by and perhaps get some advantage. Perhaps not in this section of the circuit, the tight, technical, twisting middle sector here. But we've got a very long straight, so I'm sure Cedo will just be composing himself, thinking about the braking zone, getting the car squarely through Oggies here, thinking about getting a good run through this Williams corner. Late apex, you've got to be really patient. Throws the car in there, a little bit of a wiggle and hard on the boost. They both go. So honours even, same amount of power available to both of these drivers. It's going to have to be a brave move on the brakes.
It is indeed, and there's a few, like I said, fights up and down. Are they going to bother with it? No. I think because they've all got the boost, it's all honours even, and main honours, however, to Mr. Hurlock.
Absolutely. He had a bit of a troubled start, bogged down, didn't quite get away as smoothly as he ideally would have liked. But he put that behind him, he focused forward, and he's moved his way from 13th all the way up to the point. Cleanly through Murray's for the final time of asking in this race, hard on the boost. He's got the fastest lap of the race, and Daniel Hurlock continues his good run of form and wins the second race this evening here from Snetterton. Hard fought second place for Scott Mitchell Marm. He'll be happy with that, with Jordan Richardson in third. And here comes the conga line of everybody else.
It is just everyone. I can't remember a race where we've had everyone in so close proximity to each other. Yeah, kind of like right down to 12 seconds. So Ben Willis should get the final point in 15th, and yeah, no, that was a great race. Can breathe now. Elliot also finished after Elliot. It sounds like Elliot had a freeze for like 30 seconds. Tell you what, Elliot, it was Dan Kell. Sorry, had the freeze. So yeah, sadly finishing 20th. Yeah, that was such a shame, really.
Absolutely is, but you know, Dan Kell, previous champion, he knows how to make some moves and some overtakes. We've got a third race, which is normally action-packed. I'm sure he'll be able to try and recover the evening a bit.
Yeah, I don't know how it's going to be action-packed when you compare it to rounds 1 and 2 there. Races 1 and 2 this evening. It was, yeah, it's a lot. I'm going to do top 10 this time just to mix it all up for race 2 this evening. It's Snetterton. Dan Hurlock gets the win. Scott Mitchell Marm there in second. Jordan Richardson, just enough time to say PMR powered by Richardson Co-Racing in third. Cedo Wyatt in fourth. Emil Salberg fifth. Jack Nicholls in 6th, with Callum Wilson in 7th, Sector 1 Esports. Thomas Wack in 8th, with Fraser Hart there, kind of sadly going backwards in 9th. Just struggled with that only one lap of boost. And it's Ryan Elliott for Kart Marketplace with RSR in 10th. Harley, go on then.
Oh, we're going to swap round now. Okay, so Harley London, she finishes in 11th place, followed by Matt Richards. Tom Stevens for Kings Racing came home in 13th place, with Martha Allington finishing in 14th. Our final point scorer, Ben Willis, in the Control Esports by Drake Racing Infinity. Jordan Hyde finished in 16th place. Carl Benton from the pit lane in 17th. Alan Smith, not 16th again. He came home in 18th place this time around, with Dave Brewster in 19th. Daniel Kell recovering in P20.
Long pause of dramatic effect as we try and work out who's going to say what. Robin Murray in 21st, first DNF, and Matthew Williams, Mitch Marie, and Daniel Scott sadly not finishing.
So what can we say? We're doing it live. We're having fun. So there we go. A busy second race there. I think as we speculated coming into this one, boost playing a real factor. But I think it's also interesting to see those soft tyres really do seem to give the drivers an edge at the start of the race, but something to manage as the race pans out.
Yeah, it looks like all the drivers were able to make use of it. But it's just all about the boost. This is the first race I can remember. I mean, obviously, all races where you have less boost, you're going to struggle. But this one, it's very clear that having only one lap out of 12, when you've got drivers around you with 5 or 6, you're just going to end up going backwards, as Fraser Hart found out to their detriment.
So compounded by the fact that you've got fast corners, slow corners, so from very low speed that you need to then accelerate onto a long back straight, say, yes, the boost effect is definitely making itself felt. So it's the same for everybody, of course. It's a ballast, a penalty of sorts. So everyone has to work it out in their own way. So just a way of kind of spicing up and giving our drivers just a bit more to manage throughout this 30-round season.
Yeah, it's great fun. It really is, like I said, the tactical side of it. I'm kind of, part of me wishes I was still racing, but I quite enjoy calling it with you.
So I was going to say, there's a saying, isn't there, that if you can't do it, talk about it. So I'll subscribe to that. So. So yes, no, it's been a real show put out by our field tonight, so that's fantastic to see. And we've just had a little whisper in our ear that we've had our reverse grid draw drawn, and the lucky number which came out of the hat was the number 7. So Callum Wilson finished 7th place in the second race. He will move to pole position with everyone else reversed. So unless I'm very much mistaken, we'll have Callum Wilson on pole position. He'll be joined alongside him on the front row by Jack Nichols. We'll have Emil Salberg starting in 3rd with Cito Wire 4th, Jordan Richardson 5th, Scott Mitchell-Malm 6th, and our race 1 winner Daniel Hurlock in 7th. So not perhaps the maximum reverse and the maximum amount of unknown injected there, but as you're just saying, Phil, with just a few laps of boost, Hurlock starting in pretty much the midfield is going to have a tall task ahead of him to try and come up with another race win in race 3.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one to watch. Also, should do a little shout out, a little happy birthday to Mr. Wilson. Turned 35 yesterday, so a nice little birthday present to start race 3 on pole. Not that I'm accusing the admin team of bias, but that is a very nice birthday present, isn't it?
That is a good birthday present, and we'll save you from our singing, for Callum. But yeah, happy birthday! That's a nice little treat on your birthday, isn't it? I remember when I turned 35, and my literal first waking thought was, I'm close to 40 now. There you go. It's a state of mind.
It's very much a state of mind. Also, I'm still 4 months older than you, and kind of forever will be.
Yes.
We are. Yeah, we're now technically making our way towards late 30s. But enough of that. What should we talk about for a few minutes?
Well, I was going to say, have you done any explorations of this circuit, perhaps in reverse, perhaps in the snow, Phil?
No, because I don't even realise it's been really hot the last week or so.
Don't you think the snow would cool you down?
No, it didn't quite work like that, I'm afraid. No, I'm afraid I didn't this one. It was just, I mean, I don't know how much gaming you did last week, but I think I did a little bit on my Steam Deck and not much else.
No, I think my main strategy across the recent hot spike that we had in the UK was definitely to take shelter and to avoid heat sources at all costs. But yes, fun and games. No, understandable. That's fair. But well, thankfully we do have a lot of games which do of course feature Snetterton in its various guises to enjoy. Yes, I remember when this was reworked by Motorsport Vision into its current iteration that we can see today. There was some controversy about the infield, but I think actually they've done a really nice job adding a section of track which is not just there to make up distance. It actually has some challenge to it, but you still got the original circuit there. You can just turn left after the hairpin and still run your way down the back straight. So yes, lots of, I think, good layouts, good opportunities, and well, it's nice to be able to race here. Like I say, it's underused in my view.
I think if you see the barrier, the concrete barrier there that splits, like I said, the 200 from the 300, I did find out the easy way that during practice sessions on this league, you could actually go through that and cut out the entire infield. It did mean that one year I had the fastest lap in the practice server until you realised that I didn't really do sector 1 or 2. It does make it much easier to get fast lap times if you just miss about 6 corners.
I mean, who'd have thought?
I do love that car going backwards. It's one of our we should say this is called B. A little bit of kind of technical jargon. This is apparently called, is it B-roll, Mr. Cameraman? Which they kind of use between various leagues and stuff. And it's obviously generic cars going around the track and just some nice flowing camera. So we can talk about it during the warm up. And for whatever reason, this one has got the car going backwards around the circuit because of the way they played it and recorded it. So it's a bit of an Easter egg that every now and then you'll get some wonderful shots of a I think it's an MG in light blue and pink just going backwards. Yeah, keep an eye out for that one.
I think they're inspired, Phil. They want to do it in reverse, just like you, but not just reverse, using reverse as well as going around backwards. So,
I mean, can you imagine
that
contact we've had so far this evening? Can you imagine trying to do this track in reverse gear? I don't know how many cars would make it through turn one, but I can't imagine many.
I was going to say, having taken part in the media day, drove car around even as to the pit speed limiter. Yes, that number of cars in close proximity at slow speeds or fast speeds, not easy. So yes, a different sort of a challenge, but not one that our drivers will have to face in the third race tonight. Phil, we've got a mixed up grid. We've got Boost well and truly playing its hand. Different tyres being used amongst our runners and riders. Who would you suggest our viewers keep an eye out for in the final race of this evening?
Birthday boy. I think obviously because Wilson's now going to start on more boost than the cars behind him, down to 8th place. Everyone that's kind of starting 7th, so Herlock now is going to be with 1 or 2 laps of boost, starting in 7th, and then the cars in 8th. Basically backwards are going to have near max amount of boost, so we could have a repeat of race 1 here where we see the likes of Wilson and I can't remember who's starting second next to them kind of run away for a bit, and then a kind of spread out grid as those that have got more boost kind of pull away from those that don't.
Yeah, just so I think it's Jack Nichols will be starting alongside. We've definitely seen drivers kind of work together in the early phases, build a bit of a gap, and then duke it out, as it were. Yes, I think we've got an experienced pair on the front row. They know what they're doing. We'll have to see if they work together or if they decide to race each other hard right from the very off. Either way, I think we'll be in for a good race. Yeah, I wouldn't write off the likes of Matt Richards. Obviously, returning to the championship, he knows how to drive a virtual touring car mighty quickly. He'll have a good allocation of boost, and he's not a million miles away from obviously the starting in the top 10. So I'd keep an eye out for him. We should mention obviously our drivers starting on the soft tyre for this particular race. Not as many as the second race, but we've got Emil Salberg, Ryan Elliott, Scott Mitchell-Marm, Cedar Wire, Jordan Hyde and Thomas Vack all starting with the soft tyre. So actually quite a few drivers in that kind of midfield area, all with the soft tyre. So one to watch out for, can they use it well off the start?
Can they use it well off the start and also keep it for the end? Especially if some of those are going to be lacking in terms of boost. So yeah, definitely worth keeping an eye on. What we've got to look forward to next, Alton Park, isn't it?
It is.
It's going to be a different kind of recipe for everyone, mainly for me, because I'll be the sole person in charge doing commentary. So I'll get it in now. Apologies in advance for the commentary in 2 weeks' time, because it will just be me talking to myself for 2.5 hours. Good luck to you all with that one. Cameraman's just typed and going, you can talk to me. No, thanks, person in my ear that no one else can hear.
I'm sure you'll do fine. But yes, 2 weeks' time, we'll cover, of course, the calendar after the final race. But yes, 2 weeks' time, Alton Park, the Island Circuit, a different challenge to Snetterton, tight, narrow. I think I've heard some describe it as the Nürburgring of Cheshire. Like it's a unique again challenge. So lucky to have so many different styles of circuit in the UK, and I don't think I've certainly driven and had a bad race at Alton Park. Very much a test of the driver. Bit harder to overtake perhaps, but the first thing you need to avoid is a mistake, and that's what Alton absolutely extracts.
Yeah, it's that's a fun one to look forward to, and it's the island one as well, not the
Island,
really,
beg your pardon.
Yes, not the really long version, which I can't remember the name of. International. Thank you very much, cameraman. Cars are moving.
Cars are moving indeed, so we'll run through your starting order for this, the final race of the evening, down just to 21 runners and riders. A little bit of attrition as the evening's gone on, but let's run through our starting order. Callum Wilson starts from pole position. He is joined by Jack Nicholls in the King's Honda Civic alongside him. Emil Salberg, first of the soft runners, starts in third place. He is joined by Cedo Wire, who's had pace tonight, also on the soft tyre, starting in fourth place. Jordan Richardson will start in fifth, following his third place result last time out. He will have Scott Mitchell-Marm on the soft tyres alongside him, starting sixth. Daniel Hurlock, race 2 winner, will start seventh, and he will have Thomas Vack for company alongside. Fraser Hart led both races so far. He'll be starting in P9. We'll have to see what he can do with a bit more boost. Rounding out the top 10, we'll have Ryan Elliott, also starting on the soft tyre.
It's Harley London. She's starting in 11th with Matt Richards in 12th. Tom Stevens, 13th place for Kings Racing with Martha Allington in 14th. Ben Willis starting 15th with Jordan Hyde in 16th. Carl Benton, Team 22, number 5, starting 17th. Alan Smith in 18th. I don't actually think they finished 16th yet, so come on Alan, do your best. Dave Booster in 19th. Dan Kell, obviously there with that massive technical issue, starting 20th. Matthew Williams starting 21st. I don't think Mitch Marie has returned, so we're now down to 21 runners and riders.
Like I say, a little bit of attrition as the evening's gone on. Not entirely unusual, but we've got 21 cars to start the third race of the evening. 12 more laps to go, as we now have a bit of a jumbled up grid, a variety of boost levels throughout that top 10, and a variety of tyre compounds as well. We've got Dan Hurlock in the picture-in-picture for you, so you have to see how he gets on with his rear-wheel drive BMW away from the line, as our drivers just trying to get a feel for their respective machines, a little bit of extra tyre temperature perhaps, a bit of confidence as they make their way towards the grid.
Yeah, obviously, hopefully Hurlock doesn't have a bad start, because there's a few people behind them on softs starting, so yeah, keep an eye on their start.
So everyone just making their way into their respective grid positions now. A few at the back just arriving, getting ready, getting their final moments of preparation in. So everyone now takes their respective grid slots. Everyone looks to be in position. We now wait for the engine notes to rise and the lights to come on. Lights out and away we go, and it looks like a pretty even start on the front row, but a bit of a drama there for Cedo Wire. He's bogged down and not gotten away. Callum Wilson immediately goes to the inside to defend as they run into Ritchie's for the very first time of asking, and contact, big contact for Jack Nicholls. He hangs on to it with Mel Salberg in the midpoint of the corner there, hard on the brakes into the hairpin corner, and here comes Daniel Hurlock, wasting no time, scything his way up the inside through the Norfolk fields.
Yeah, they obviously got a little bump there for the hairpin. They had a brilliant start, and obviously there was a couple of cars that got bogged down, managed to get past them, and then kind of got accidentally bumped up into P2 there, so amazing start.
Amazing start for Hurlock. How you gain 5 places in 2 corners, I do not know, but he's managed it. Kudos. But Emil Salberg has come back at the Agostini hairpin up the inside as they run towards Hamilton for the first time, all cleanly through there. A little bit of side-by-side action as they run towards Oggies.
Yeah, it looks like everyone survived for now. I don't see anyone. Carl Benton a little bit has lost a load of places, but is still running. And yeah, we're now going to get the 21 driver conga line going on, I think, down this back straight.
Absolutely. Harley London up to 8th place. She's got a good start here in the third race, although plenty of pressure from Fraser Hart just behind. Harley up 3 places, so a good start for her as they run down towards Brundle for the first time of asking. Side by side, the bollards go flying. Our poor maintenance folks have got plenty of work to do after this race is finished.
Yeah, I remember when we watched this live, I remember that bollard, they kept placing it lap on lap with the Clios. They kept knocking it over as Harley's looking at the inside now, going sideways, holding on to it as we kind of chalk up our first lap. Are we all going to make it for this last corner? Yeah, so far, so good.
So far, so good. Everyone dancing their cars through cold tyres through those very long final couple corners to close out the lap. The conga line continues. They all file stream one after another. Side-by-side action. Alan Smith up to 16th place. He's having to fight hard, though, against, I believe that is Smith. Oh, a bit of contact there. Oh, that's Dan Kell, beg your pardon. A bit of contact, but all still pointing in the right direction. Thankfully, through the hairpin they go, still holding on to 16 for Alan. Keep on chipping away at it. Good stuff.
Yeah, great there. Herlock down to third now. Looks like Emil's up to second. That's still an amazing start to make up those few places, and you've also got two kings though. Again, Mitchell Marm and Nichols be hopefully working together, as we've got a bit of a roadblock going on here with Harley and of the 8th place. Sorry, bit of a fight all over the place. Oh, that's a very sideways forward. Are they going to hold on to it? Let's say, that's then they're going to have the inside here, and then the inside the next corner. It's Harley going to be able to move up to 9th place. That's Fraser Hart next to them. Looks like they've got it done, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be, again, hard work to hang around the outside there, but just a little bit of a wriggle. Of course, these front-wheel drive cars, the rear tyre's really cold. There's not much grip in them. A little bit of a slide, and that just opened the door, but good recovery.
Yeah, just seeing Matt Richards 13th at the moment, as you see. Oh, blimey, where's Fraser Hart going? They're going on a bit of an adventure. Lost a couple of places there, a bit of contact with Elliott, we believe, has shot them down to 12th, and yeah, they just managed to kind of fit back in line. That's the thing, you lose one place, you lose 2 or 3 here. It's very hard to get back into the racing line because there's usually a car there in the way.
Of course, huge momentum loss, huge speed loss, and when you've got a massive back straight, that penalises you as well. So again, this circuit really rewards technique, it rewards precision, and it rewards a bit of bravery, but when you get it wrong, you get punished for it. So as our drivers complete lap 2, move on to lap 3, Callum Wilson back to the point in his Sector 1 BMW, Salberg in second, Herlock in third after an amazing start. Settling in perhaps, he's got that 1 lapper boost, not used it yet, but the drivers around him also not exactly rich with that boost availability. So the strategy will start to play out here as perhaps drivers slightly further back start to catch up and make inroads.
Yeah, that's what I imagine's happening. Obviously, Salberg has got the soft tyres over Wilson, but Wilson's got an extra 3 laps of boost, as we see Tom Stevens looking down the inside of Cedo Wire. Looks like that place has been made. Next up, it's their teammate of Jack Nichols. Again, the Kings are running line astern in 4th, 5th and 6th.
So we 3 Kings chasing down Herlock. Oh, blimey, look at that little mistake from Herlock. Unusual, unforced error there. Scott Mitchell-Marm piling on the pressure on that BMW RSR machine. Little slide, sometimes a little bit of slip angle can be your friend, but Mitchell-Marm really putting up the pressure. Using that boost, he has the fastest lap of the race to boot, and through he goes using that straight line speed advantage.
But that's their last. This is their last lap of boost. They only had 2 laps worth, so they're going to use a little bit on the main straight, and that'll be their Scott Mitchell-Marm's boost done. Whereas Herlock has only 1 lap to use, and then Stevens and Nichols have got a bit more. So maybe Scott Mitchell-Marm here thinking, I'll get ahead as well. There's a bit of a car park going on here.
Oh no! So the poor camera. The poor camera, says the cameraman extraordinaire in our ears. Yes, indeed. That looked like a little bit of a car park. The car park's just the other side of the... oh no! Crash into the pit lane! Who was that? That was Salberg. Oh my goodness me, heading for the pit lane. Was there a penalty perhaps to serve? But they've gotten the entry all wrong.
What happened there? That was a very peculiar one. So they've just... I think they've had a failure. And that's why they've... I don't understand what they were doing. We've got a replay here of Elliott's incident with the Vauxhall of, I'm not quite sure, slide and then slide. Okay, sorry, that's it'd be Harley London, and then yeah, just kind of wrong place, wrong time, and just couldn't get the car out of the way. And I think they've called it for the night. We'll get a replay of Emil, hopefully an on board of Emil's one, because that was very weird. But that's them well and truly out with Scott Mitchell-Marm up to second. And now holding up effectively Herlock for the likes of Stevens and Nichols. So I think there's a little bit of team play going on here.
Yeah, you would not surprise me at all, Phil, as this one pans out. Again, 3 Kings cars, as they have done for most of this season so far, running strongly in the top 5.
So let's have a look then. So Emil's, they've feigned as if they're going... That was very weird. I think they've had a failure of some sort, like a monitor's turned off, because they kind of kept the wheels straight. Obviously, sadly, it does bend round to the right there, so we'll have to ask them later what happened there, but that's them definitely done for the evening.
So we'll have to get the inside line a bit later, but yes, I think you may be onto something there actually, Phil. You wouldn't normally turn right there, but if you've had a monitor failure or switch off, you try and judge it, you try and guess it, and that might explain the line just ever so slightly wrong. Anyway, one to follow up with following this third race. Let's return to it. Alan Smith making his way forward. He's up to 13th from 16th, although Ben Willis in his Infinity has something to say about that, trying to make his way forward to try and get a good result. There's a car well off in Coram there, going off into the fields. I think that's one of the calamities.
That was sadly, I think Harley London has just slightly lost control there. Not sure where they're going to come. Oh, they kind of straight line the whole thing. I imagine they're now going to brake and give all those places back. Because I suppose they gained a lot of time, but they didn't really gain any places. But maybe they've slotted back in okay.
So we'll have to see what the stewards think of that one. But as we complete lap 4, move on to lap 5. We've already got one driver, Dan Herlock, up in 3rd place. No more boost to use. He's chosen to use that 1 lap of boost from his arsenal, but it has not helped him too much. He's still got Tom Stevens for close company. Stevens with the fastest lap of the race.
So you've got a replay here of Harley London, and bomb hole just goes a little bit wide. And once you're wide here, it's just impossible to get back on the circuit. So you've got the Craven behind. We've got their teammate ahead. They shortcut the entirety of the last corner, but I think because of the way they've timed it, they've only actually lost a few seconds out of that. They've kind of slotted back in exactly where they were previously. Nothing lost, nothing gained. Not sure what the stewards will make of that one, but Here we go. We've got Stevens now fighting Herlock. So that's now another Kings driver ahead. And behind, we've got, looks like Nichols and Wire fighting each other as well. So great moves for the Kings guys, especially in the constructors.
Yeah, plus 10 places for Stevens in this one. Fairy tale stuff. We've now got a replay here of Martha Allington. Ooh, a little bit heavy on the brakes, and as I said before, these front-wheel drive cars, you brake too hard, those rear tyres not that warm, they act like a little handbrake, and you are a passenger. But well gathered. Once the mistake had been made, Martha continues.
Yeah, so what have you got going on here in the meantime? This is now Nichols fighting Wire for a place in top 5, and like I said, Thomas Wack is getting involved in 7th there. So yeah, this is definitely getting a little bit spicy in race 3 as we're literally going up to halfway through the race. Stevens made 10 places, 13th to 3rd. That's one hell of a recovery. As we see them all kind of nose to tail through the hairpin, and there's no inch give or take in here, is there? They're all going for it. I'm trying to wait to see the towers update how many laps of boost they've got, and all about evenly matched, really.
I think everyone just kind of keeping their powder dry, trying to figure out each other, figure out when the right time is to make the move. Nothing worse than using, say, your boost, trying to build a gap, perhaps not quite break away, and then have folks just slipstream back to you. So yes, that fight there between Wire, Nichols, Wack and Hart, all very closely contested in the lower half of the top 10. Fights going up and down the grid. So here we're on board with and observing Ben Willis up to 14th. These are for the last few points paying positions. Alan Smith down to 15th. But we've got, for pretty close company, Jordan Hyde, I believe that is, in 13th. So a little group of cars here, 6 or so, all fighting over the last few points paying positions.
Yeah, we go back to the front group. We've got Nichols now fighting Thomas. Looks like Thomas Vacker's got ahead of Nichols up to 6th. So as they all jump over that curb, yeah, they're going to keep swapping positions between now and the end of the race, I think. Because they've all got a similar amount of boost. You've got Thomas Vack has obviously got those soft tyres, but Nichols and Hart haven't. Hart's obviously made 1 place up so far this race. Are they going to try and make a second one as we go on to lap 7?
We'll see. It certainly looks like Wack has a bit more potential in his car, that soft tyre allowing him to carry a bit more speed. Here we've got a little bit of an interesting situation. We've got the 2 Kings cars of Stephen and Mitchell in very close proximity, but they have really caught up to the back of Callum Wilson and his Sector 1 BMW. So we have our podium, our top 3 drivers, all within camera shot, and Dan Herlock not that far behind either. So if these 3 start to scrap as this race starts to enter its final third, anything could happen for these top positions, with 4 drivers definitely still in contention.
This is a bit awkward now for Kings, because you've got Scott Mitchell-Marm ahead of Stevens. It's Stevens ahead in the championship, although not by much, only by 7 points going into this evening. You've got Mitchell on the soft tyres, so you would say, well, Mitchell should have the opportunity to fight Wilson. But Wilson and Stevens each have 5 laps of boost left. Mitchell only has 1. So if I'm Stevens, you kind of want to say to your teammate, look, let me through, let me try and fight him with my extra laps of boost. Because I imagine if Wilson's going to be using it, if not this lap, he can then use it for all the... Wilson and Stevens now, after this lap, have enough boost for all the other laps, whereas Mitchell only has one. So if I was Stevens, I'd be saying, yes, you've got the soft tyres, but you need to overtake him now.
Yeah, I wonder how they're going to play it. I think the purest, most simple way is do the talking on the track. If you've got the pace, you can pass me, and we'll sort it out afterwards. But perhaps they'll give it a moment or two. A long lap here, plenty of time to work it out. But yes, give it a moment or two, and we'll see who can make a move. A little bit of an offline there, I think, from Wilson. I think Scott Mitchell-Marm trying to set up a good exit, which I think he has gotten. Really drafting onto the back of that BMW now. Wilson covering the inside into Ritchie's, which is the natural defence. Hard corner to try and then get the front of your car into. Just look at the run that Scott Mitchell-Marm has got, going on the traditional line, getting the up and under. Wilson able to hang on to it though, but here comes Stevens on his teammate, not able to make it work. These three start to duel and scrap. Here we go. We've got a real fight for the overall win here in race 3.
Yeah, Herlog obviously has got no boost, so as you see, like I said, this is the point. Stevens and Wilson are now both going to be using their boost. Wilson's going to be using it to pull away from Mitchell. Stevens is going to be using it, but kind of stuck behind his teammate. So you kind of need him to kind of, very nicely, get out of the way if you want the Kings to win this race, I feel.
Yes, I think given how the boost has played out, it might be a surprise if Stevens didn't use that boost, frankly, to try and race his teammate and get ahead of him. That would certainly be one way of settling that out, but we'll see how they manage it. Of course, the worst thing you can do is to have contact with your teammate, and here we go as they exit onto the Bentley straight for the 8th time of asking. Wilson on the boost, Stevens on the boost, the only one not on the boost, Mitchell-Marm. So we'll see, can he make a move on the brakes into Brundle? Yes, he can. Stevens up to 2nd place.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense now. Kind of give Stevens the best opportunity to fight Wilson. Mitchell, the car behind hasn't got boost anymore. It's on the medium tyres. You're on the soft. Look after those softs and just try and keep close to these two guys ahead and see what happens.
So King swap around. Stevens into 2nd place, plus 11. So he's having a good 3rd race. We'll have to see what he can now do against Wilson. Both on the boost as they cross the start-finish line, using all of their allocation up. The gap just 0.4 of a second. So a bit of a gap between our top 4 and the rest of the field in the 3rd race, but plenty of close racing still going on up and down the field. Looks like Thomas Wack has been able to make his way past Fraser Hart and Jack Nichols over the last few laps, and we've also got Cedar Wire in 5th, who's not used any boost yet, so he's certainly saving his boost for the end.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to do it, especially as the gap between Cedo and Herlock is, it is 4 seconds, but or 3 and a bit, sorry, but that's definitely doable with 4 extra laps of boost compared to the car ahead. So that'll be one to keep an eye on come the end of the race. As Wilson to Stevens, 6 tenths, obviously both got the same amount of boost now, and Mitchell obviously will be keeping his one probably for a last lap push against his teammate if Stevens can't get past Wilson, which maybe is part of the agreement. If you're Mitchell, you say, okay, I've only got 1 lap of boost. You use yours to fight Wilson, and if you don't make it by the last lap, I would like that place back.
We'll see how they play it, both on the boost. Stevens definitely not getting an ideal run. I think that's the real drive, perhaps just helping rotate the car at the midpoint. Wilson just needs to focus, eyes forward, hit his marks, focus on his race, and we'll let Stevens do the hard job of not only catching but passing. So we'll have to see how this trio play it out. Certainly for the Kings team, it's the same number of points regardless which order they finish.
We've got a replay here of Ben Willis. I think that's Alan Smith. So going into the turn 2 hairpin. Looks all okay so far. Oh, a little bit of argy-bargy there as we went down towards turn 3. So what we're looking for here, looks like Ben's lost a load of places. So looks like Alan goes a bit wide. Has come back on. Need a better. Yeah, that's going to be a fun one to look into because it looks like Alan came back on track and then came a bit more to the left when Ben was there. Ben wasn't really squeezing him, gave him the car's width, but I think Alan may have tried using a bit more that he wasn't justified to have.
So again, I think another instance of 2 into 1 doesn't go. These fast-flowing corners, cars committed on the limit on the exits of corners and just drifting over into or one another. So another unfortunate bit of contact. Willis coming worse off in that particular exchange.
Yep, that's a shame. Just like the gap between Wilson and Stevens, like that nice little extra bit down there, has actually increased now from 6 tenths to 1.2 seconds. So it looks like Wilson's just kind of doing the right thing, looking after those tyres. This could be, I suppose, a rear-wheel drive car on the mediums versus a front-wheel drive car on those mediums, and just basically the mediums have run out on the front-wheel drive because the gap is slowly increasing again.
So it's about consistency, it's about rhythm this place, and certainly Callum is demonstrating that at the moment. The gap 1.4 seconds. Stevens hasn't given up though, he's on that boost, so Callum's definitely going to have to stay on his toes, alert, ready for a late charge from the Kings team.
Yeah, we got a yellow in sector 2. It looks like Dave Brewster sound. He went a bit around, dived down the inside, and kind of took a hit, but sadly it caused them the problems, and that's them down in 19th. The last runner at the moment with Emil and Ryan obviously retired. Battle here for 9th, Richards and Kell. They're all kind of keeping stuck together with magnets for 9th, 10th, 11th. Good handful of points come the end of the race. As the gap between Stevens and Callum Wilson is now 1.5 seconds. So going up as these guys fight.
I was going to say, Richardson, unfortunately, just running out of road there on the exit of Murray's. Both Richards and Kell benefiting. A good result here for Kell, obviously having his drama, his disconnection in the second race, up to 10th place from the back of the grid. So a good recovery from the Calamity driver. Richards also doing pretty well, returning to the championship up in 9th place.
Yeah, but I mean, at the moment, it's a good amount of points here for Kings Racing in second and third, as Richards, like I said, getting his first points, first evening of the season, first race of the season, getting a handful of points for Aerostream Motorsport. So they've done really well, kind of get themselves back into it, and see how they how far they can go forward during the course of the season. I heard apparently they're on a basic Logitech G29, which I think was my starter wheel, but people still use it. Still a great wheel, but I know that Matt's probably used to other sim racing stuff, so take them a few races to get back into it. As we see now, Stevens and Mitchell Marm, it seems to be a closer fight than the one to Callum Wilson up ahead.
Yeah, Wilson just focusing on what he needs to, letting the others run their races respectively. Definitely looks like perhaps as the laps are running out, closing out, that the tyre life on that BMW is perhaps helping here. Just seems a bit stronger in the corners, able to carry more speed, more momentum. Perhaps the front wheel drive's a bit quicker on the straights, but at this phase you've got to stay close and with the car ahead, and it does look like Stevens is not able to do that currently. So 11 laps in the book. We're about to start the final lap of the third race tonight. Again, where did that time go? Callum Wilson leads, both drivers with 1 lap of boost remaining. So it's about bringing it home, and we'll have to see if Wilson can do it.
We can finish up the Emil Salberg pit lane crash up very nicely. I'll basically quote what they said. That was a lesson in making sure the VR headset is charged in time. So it was a monitor switch off, but it was a VR switch off, which is why they then went straight.
I was going to say that's potentially even more terrifying to go from being seated in your lovely racing car to nothingness.
Yes, that explains why they sadly have retired in this race and finishing 20th. I think there's Cedo is catching up Herlock. So as I said, Herlock's got no more boost. Wire's been kind of chomping away at it slowly but surely, and whether it's enough, I'm not quite sure. The gap is about half a second, I'd say, or 3 tenths. So it's going to be a boost push on this last back straight, really.
Certainly looks a bit closer than half a second at this point, as they've now run through the technical middle part of the lap. Those soft tyres perhaps being used to good effect. Wire on the boost, Herlock with none. Based off previous examples, this should be a relatively open and shut case, but Cedo, I think, just running his race, managing the middle of it, just focusing again on what he needs to do, and he's made a place there. Good stuff.
Callum Wilson obviously going through the final few corners. Got a little bit worried when those Kings drivers started getting towards them, down to 6 tenths, but kept doing their thing, and birthday present to be on pole, birthday present to get the win.
Magnificent stuff. So perhaps a bit of luck with the reverse grid pole, but you've got to use it, you've got to execute it, and that is exactly what Callum has done there. Light to flag, well done. Callum Wilson wins race 3, followed by Tom Stevens and Scott Mitchell-Marm. Cedar Wire comes home in 4th, followed by Dan Hurlock. And as we wait for the rest of our field to finish, my goodness me, lots of action, lots of strategy, and boy, oh boy, we've already run through our 3 races tonight. Where has that gone?
That's been crazy. I think also that one had the least amount of carnage in it, which is quite something when you consider that usually this is the one with the most amount of carnage. The only carnage we had was a VR headset turning off, which is suboptimal, but at least they've lessons learned for next time out. And interesting, Thomas Vac there was one of the few drivers that didn't use all their boost and still finished 6th. I wondered how many laps of boost they had left.
So I'm sure we can find out in the result sheets. There's strategy to obviously use the boost at the right time. There's also strategy to make sure that you use it all. Easily done to not do that. He's not alone there. There's quite a few drivers actually towards the back who haven't used all of their boost over the race. But as we wait for Dave Brewster to finish and complete the finishes for the 3rd race of the evening, we can call it good there. 3 races in the book, round 3 complete. And Snetterton yet again has delivered 3 energetic, lively races.
Yeah, been another fantastic evening of racing. I definitely need a drink after all of that. And I'm very happy. Shall I quickly run through the top 10, let you do the rest? It's Callum Wilson getting the win there, race 3 at Snetterton for Sector 1 Esports, with the Kings of Tom Stevens and Scott Mitchell-Marm, double podium for Kings. Well done there. Cedar Wire getting that 4th place on the last lap, and Dan Kelt finishing in the top 5. Thomas Vac finishing in 6th for Kart Marketplace with RSR, with Fraser Hart in 7th. Jack Nichols, the other Kings there in 8th. 3 Kings in the top 8, very good. Matt Richards in 9th, and it was Dan Kell rounding out the top 10 for Calamity Motorsport.
P11, Jordan Richardson scrapping hard there towards the end, as we saw. He was followed by Jordan Hyde for Vapor Shield Racing in P12. Harley London finished in 13th place, followed by Kyle Benton in 14th. Alan Smith in the Craven Racing Hyundai in 15th place, grabbing that last point this evening. Martha Allington for YTF Racing came home in 16th place, followed by Matthew Williams. Ben Willis for Control Esports by Droga Racing finished in 18th, followed by Dave Brewster, our last runner and rider, in 19th. Emil Sarberg, following that unfortunate VR incident, finished in 20th, with Ryan Elliott, our final classification, in 21st place.
And breathe again.
And breathe. Oh boy,
that was crazy. This kind of kept coming at you. Like, there wasn't a gap where we could kind of go, oh, let's discuss this. It was just kind of constant fighting and battling. And I think that one really showed how important the boost was compared to brands where it was kind of hard to use. Looking forward to Alton Park in 2 weeks' time.
Exactly right. The format is a real treat here at VMO, and as you say, Phil, just a few weeks, 2 weeks time, 15th of July, we'll be visiting the island layout at Alton Park. I won't be on the commentary booth, but I will leave you in the very capable hands of Phil, and I'm sure you'll have a great broadcast and a great 3 races to call around an excellent circuit with the field we have. A few weeks after that, we will make our visit to Hampshire, Thruxton, and its unique challenges. We'll have our summer break, after which we will return visiting Knockhill in Scotland. We'll then close out the season by visiting Donington Park GP in September, Croft in September, Silverstone, and then Brands Hatch GP on the 14th of October to conclude this year's championship. We've already got some protagonists starting to make a claim and make a play for the respective championships, but with races like the ones we've just seen, I think it's fair to say that anything could happen. So still a long way to go. We may be 9 races down, but like I say, plenty more action to come.
Yeah, that was fantastic, and really looking forward to Alton Park. It's going to be a unique experience, but I'm looking forward to tackling it head on.
Absolutely. And if you would like to find out more and tackle some of this racing opportunity yourself, like I say, feel free to head over to vmo-simracing.co.uk to find out more about the league, the championship, the Discord, and our wonderful growing community that we have. And we'd love to have you come along and join and possibly even be on the grid in future championships. So with that, I think we'll start to wrap up the broadcast. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We really appreciate your company, and we hope you've enjoyed it. Phil, any final words?
Just chaos that I hope that we get a little bit of stability. Kind of recovers a little bit for. Hopefully, I recover a bit for 2 weeks' time, and hopefully a more normal event. But with the British summer, we never know what it's going to be like in 2 weeks' time. It could be boiling hot. It could be absolutely chucking it down. So looking forward to it.
So all you can prepare for or expect is the unexpected, and I think that's what we've been treated to tonight. So on behalf of the whole broadcast team, thank you so much for joining us. We will see you in 2 weeks' time at Alton Park.